Wisdom in the whip, wisdom in the whip. This is wisdom in the whip. Why wisdom in the whip? Because I got a lot of drive, a bunch of ambition. See, I ain't gotta lie. Wisdom in the whip, wisdom in the whip, wisdom in the whip. This is wisdom in the whip. That's right, y'all. It's your boy Ariel, and welcome back to part 2 of Wisdom in the Whip. This is the part 2 of the series that I did last year, titled last video titled My Story. Right, this is part 2 of my story. So, without further ado, let's get into it. But first, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you share this video with a family member or a friend because you might be able to relate to it. Or if you can't relate to it, somebody else you know can relate to it. So make sure you spread that wisdom by sharing this video with them. All right. Let me see if that's a better camera angle. Nah. All right. Let's keep it like that. All right. So this is part 2 of my story, and we left off of my story when I was talking about how I was growing up in poverty, right? Section 8, food stamps. I was in the hood, criminal activity, drugs, gang violence. I was a part of a gang, right? And it wasn't even like a gang. We was more like a family. We was more like a community, right? Because we provided for each other, we fended for each other, we helped each other, we gave each other encouragement. Even if it wasn't the best advice, we still gave each other advice. We helped each other out, we fought for each other. If somebody didn't have money, we tried our best to, help them out. We stayed in at each other cribs, we went to parties, we went to school together, all of that, right? Like, it provided some type of love and security and family for us, which we was longing for because a lot of us didn't have our dads, right? So when you don't have your dad, you're looking for that male friendship, you're looking for that male companionship, you're looking for that male encouragement, because it's just a natural thing for men to want to be around men. Like, it's natural for women to want to be around women. So we was looking for that in each other, right? So I'm in college, right? Because I followed my girl to college, because in high school I didn't know what to do. I just knew I did not want to be a statistic. I did not want to go to jail. I did not want to end up dead, and I did not want to be on the block. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to college. And I followed my girl to Genesee Community College. So while I'm in Genesee Community College, I don't know what to do. I started the semester out as a accountant path. That was the path I was on, to be an accountant, CPA. But I failed and I did not like it. So I'm like, you know what? CPA is too hard. I'm going to do liberal arts because I don't know what to do. So after doing liberal arts, after struggling with that, let me break it down. So I started off in Genesee Community College. My first 2 semesters, I had to do remedial classes. I don't know if they're remedial, but they wasn't up to standard because I took a placement test and my placement test was terrible. So I had to do classes to get me to a college standard, right? So I had to do the basic classes. And I got a 3.6 GPA and a 3.8 GPA doing the basic classes. All praise to the Most High for that. And I was doing really well. Then I got into my core classes, like my accounting classes and stuff like that. And that's when I hit the wall. I'm like, boom. I'm like, GPA was like 1.8 and then like probably like 1.6 or something like that. So I failed, right? I failed that year. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this CPA stuff. It's too hard, too much math. And at that time, I really wasn't challenging myself. I was only doing what was easy, right? And that's for a lot of students out there. A lot of students don't do what's challenging, they do what's easy, because if it's easy, then they get, gratification, they get the reward, they pass, right? But if they do something challenging and they fail, they beat themselves up and they're really hard on themselves and they think that they can't do it. So they don't push themselves, they don't challenge themselves to be the best that they can be, right? So that's where I was at. And then I went into liberal arts. So now I'm in liberal arts and I'm doing good. And I end up passing the next year. So then I had one more extra semester to do at Genesee Community College. And then at Genesee Community College, I did that extra semester. And boom, your boy had graduated. Also, I think I still have the commercial I did for Genesee Community College. I might have to post that in the description. But I did a little commercial for Genesee Community College talking about how they changed my life, because they did, man. Shout outs to Tanya Lane. She was my campus angel, my campus advisor, and whenever I had a problem, she was there for me. And she helped me out every step of the way, right? Like, she was a godsend. So while I'm in Genesee Community College, I graduate. Then I go to Syracuse University because my mom had went to jail for a year. And I went back home to help take care of my little brothers and sisters at the time so that we wouldn't be split up or we wouldn't end up in like foster care or something. And so I'm at Syracuse University and I'm taking care of my little brothers and sisters, and I didn't know what to do. So my advisor at Syracuse University said, okay, you don't know what to do, but you like to help people? I was like, yeah. I was like, I like to help people. That's my passion. She was like, all right, well, let's put you into child and family studies. It's a branch of social work. So as I got into child and family studies at Syracuse University, I really liked it. I liked the track that I did. I did the teenage track, right? We learned about gerontology, which is the study of elders, people 65 and up. I did the teenage track where we studied teenagers. We studied psychological development in teenagers, psychological development in young adults. We did marriage and divorce. We did psychology and sociology, just learning about culture and society and how things work, which was awesome. I really enjoyed that. So I ended up graduating from Syracuse University, but I still didn't know what to do. I was in child and family studies. So I got a job in social work, right? And in social work, no, I didn't get a job in social work. I got a job working for the Salvation Army, right? This was kind of social work, but it was too much red tape, right? You was really restricted, and I didn't have the power to do what I wanted to do to help people how I felt they needed to be helped. I'm like, yo, we can do so much more for these people. We can help them. We can really make an impact in their lives. But, you know, when you're dealing with government funding, when you're dealing with private funding, not private funding, you're dealing with government funding, there's a whole bunch of restrictions. There's a whole bunch of red tape. There's a whole bunch of people who are overworked and underpaid. There are people who are stressed out, right? And then they have to go deal with mentally exhausting cases that put a mental strain on them. So they lose their passion for work, and now they're just there to make a dollar. And at that point, they don't have the energy or the passion to actually be a resource, to actually be a help. So I'm like, this is not going to work. You know, people is overworked, they underpaid, they stressed out. These cases are hard and they're losing their passion, and we don't have enough money, and we can't tell them specific things because we have to keep it in line with the system or the structure that's in place, the guidelines that they created. We have to stay within their guidelines, and it was just like too much. It was too hard. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to create my own system. I'm going to create my own classes. I'm going to create my own business so that I can help these people the best way I feel they need help, so I can deliver them the information without no strings attached, so I can deliver them the information without having someone watching over my back saying, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, right? Then I can use my resources, my money, my network, right, to help them if they need money, if they need someone in my network, if they need a resource, right? I can be that resource, my company can be that resource. And I felt like that was the best route to go. Mind you, this is like 3 years after I graduated. So I'm just working at Delta Sonic, car wash company. Shout outs to Delta Sonic. I'm just trying to pay my bills and try to figure out this entrepreneurship thing, right? Because I wasn't introduced as an entrepreneur when I was in high school, when I was in middle school, or in college. No one introduced to me the idea of entrepreneurship. No one introduced to me the idea of working for yourself. No one introduced the idea to me about building a business. So I had no idea this thing even existed, right? Even though I grew up in the hood, and most of the time drug dealers was their own boss, and they were entrepreneurs in a sense, right? But they don't tell you that, right? They make drug dealing and being in the hood such a bad thing, which I agree. There's a lot of negatives about it, but there's also some positives in it as well, which can help you advance your life and help you be the best that you can be, right? What they say, there's power in being street smart and book smart. That's definitely a truth, right? Being street smart has definitely helped me get through a lot of tough situations, and being book smart helped me get through a lot of tough situations. So that's part 2 of my story, who I am and what I'm about and what I want to do. So in part 3, I'm gonna wrap it up and we're gonna move to another subject, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of background of who I am leading up to where I am now. So it's your boy Ariel. Check me out on www.arielmerch.com. Get a book, get a shirt. Peace.